Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a different kind of video in store for you guys, and by different I mean I've never done this before. But I've seen these videos going around YouTube and I really thought it was important, like no matter how much of a presence I have, that I have my input in this. And so today's video is my input on how to love yourself. Now this has been a topic very dear to my heart, and when I started my channel this was always something I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to take my time. If you've been on my channel before, you know I kind of tend to talk fast. The best way I can define loving yourself is that there is no specific formula or no specific step method you have to take or follow to love yourself. And the thing is, the world has taught us, society has taught us so many times, like this is how you can critique yourself, this is how you can make yourself better. They have step-by-step methods for all of these, and it's surrounded in our environment so casually. It's just normal to us to critique ourselves or to see ourselves as objects that need improving. But yet no one's released any methods, any formula to love ourselves, and that's why I've decided we're going to talk about this together. Now the main reason why we see ourselves as objects is because we're in the age of social media. Now I'm not going to go around the same path and say social media is toxic. It can have some bad elements, I agree, but in some cases it's also a good thing. However, its bad elements sometimes can outweigh the good elements. Social media is key for a engaging platform community. You find people who want to be or are just like you, but because we see so many other people every single day that actually we're not probably used to seeing if we weren't on social media. And I'm saying this from experience. I recently stopped going on TikTok and I haven't really compared myself to anyone in a while. And because of that entire makeshift of social media that you see so many people all the time, and you're so used to having a object or standard to compare yourself to, because of that entire ideology, you're much more likely to compare yourself. And this entire structure comes from the structure of social media, just thinking to yourself that I have to be this, or I have to be that, or I have to have this talent and that will make me unique, or I have to have one more talent, one more feature, one more likable side of me, and that will make me more of an accessible, fun, attractive, intriguing. Most likely subconscious thought that goes to your head that you don't really think about, but it's all these are elements. What can make me funnier, what can make me happier, what can make me stand out more, what can make me more attractive, how can I get people to talk to me. All of these elements and more, these are literally just things I just named on top of my head. All of these elements and more that make you think, what makes me more lovable? And that comes and starts to take away the factor of what is lovely about you. There is, like I said, there is no formula to loving yourself. It's all just one big map, and we have to find our way around it. It's not easy, but there are things we can do to reduce the stress or the burden we put on our shoulders of what makes you lovable. Now I spoke about earlier in this video about how I stopped going on TikTok. That's the only social media I stopped going on. That's because I found that when I started going on TikTok, I had so many standards to compare myself to. So I saw people who were happy with themselves, people who had like this great figure and physique, and I was like, if I want to be happy I have to achieve that. Or people who had these extraordinary smiles and extraordinary skin, and as you can see right now I've literally got blemishes on my skin. And I stopped going on TikTok for that reason, because I saw so many perfect people that it took me time to realize that social media is fake. Now, I know everyone says this. It took me some time to actually believe in this whole ideology that social media is fake, because I was like, no, it can't be fake. People are posting their videos on it, and even when I've seen people in bed and look perfect, like, it can't be fake. And then it hit me that you can wake up looking perfect. You're not ever going to see that, because unless you wake up and take your phone out and slide to your camera, you're never going to see what you actually look like when you wake up. And in the same manner, you're never going to see what other people actually look like when they wake up, especially on social media, because people take time to perfect themselves. People take time to find their best and post that so you can see it. It might sound a bit cliche, and not everyone said it, but you're never gonna post yourself rolling out of bed and post a video like that. And I'm a clear example. Before I started this video, I did my skincare. I found the best way. I thought I would wear my hijab today, and I cleaned my background a bit just so that I could set a standard. It's almost like we follow a crowd without realizing. Everyone sets a standard, and I'm like, oh, this is the standard we have to follow. And it's not hard to believe that all these standards, all these types and wants and whatever we want to be, that's all man-made. And that's why we can't love ourselves, because there is no formula to actually being who you want to be, and there's no formula to that person being your actual like standard. When we see people on social media, they probably had different types of life experiences, and life experiences really build us up to be who we want to be. And you might see the most perfect person, but they might have gone through something traumatic to make them look like that. I had a girl in my class and she disappeared for 2 weeks, and then she came back, and then she literally looked so different. And I couldn't help myself but think that she probably fell sick because she looked very different. And at one point, and it's just, this is how the human mind works. At one point, my mind was like, oh my god, like how lucky, like she's had just such a big glow up and she's only gone for 2 weeks, and I've tried so hard and I can't even get to that stage. But then at another point, like at the back of my mind, the real forward thought was that I felt bad for her because she disappeared for 2 weeks and she came back like a new person. And my first thought was she probably felt like sick because this time period given and the change that I saw in her, I really did not think that there would have been any positive manner for her to get like that. And it made me learn quick changes aren't good changes. If you lose a lot of weight quickly, that's not good for you. Your body, your brain, your entire emotional well-being needs time to adjust to any sort of food diet you may have, exercise regime, anything like that. Your mind needs time to adjust to it. So then I realized that she did a very quick transformation. Even though at first I was like, I want that transformation, I very quickly learned that quick isn't always the best way. Actually putting in time and effort and enjoying, finding something you enjoy to make yourself look different is probably the best way you can, help and heal your emotional, physical and psychological well-being. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to change. It's nature. It's second nature to want to change, to see yourself and think, actually, I can improve this about myself. But I feel like we always lead that down to physical improvement. We should also look at emotional improvement. And I realized a lot of people, and I can't even fault this, have a lot of physical improvements to make, and they spend so much time on making this physical improvement that they forget it affects their emotional well-being. And it actually does. You find that people will become angrier, like sadder, more upset, more depressed, because we're forcing our body to work in a way that it's not supposed to work. We're not supposed to be putting so much pressure, so much burden on our body in one go. You can work on one thing at a time. You can work on your physical health, then slowly add in your emotional health, and slowly add in your psychological health. And this is a very common thing for our day and age, and I feel like we neglect it a lot because of the times we're growing up in, especially people my age, people younger than me. We have a lot more educational pressure, and that's because of the fact that we have grades to meet, standards to meet for our parents, and all of that, exam, coursework, whatever you name it. We've got that pressure, and it doesn't start very late in our lives. It starts early on, especially here in the UK. We have our first SATs at the age of 12. Those are exams at the age of 12. That is already a lot of pressure to take for a child to understand that you have very important exams coming up and you have to revise for these. You have to set a standard here. And because of this educational pressure, we tend to stray away from all of the other things that can make us unhappy, or all the other things that can make us happier. For example, playing a sport, hanging out with friends, or being your happiest by reading a book, doing something fun. When I was 12, and this was the age of my stats, I enjoyed doing origami. That was one of my biggest hobbies. I loved it. And I would come back every day after school and I would just fold paper. I loved it. It was one of my biggest hobbies. And then soon after, I was told to stop it because I had more important things coming up, like my exams, which made me go away from hobbies, because in my mind then hobbies weren't important. My exams were had a bigger standard to me than what my hobbies were. And as kids, I feel like it's so important for us to learn that hobbies actually make up such a big part of us. If you love doing something, you should be able to do that without stopping it. And I'm not saying put your grades to the ground and don't ever think about them again. Find a balance. And I realized that this isn't something I had when I was a kid. I had hobbies, but they had to be put aside for my grades. And couldn't find that balance that was needed for me as a child. For example, an hour with the hobby and then an hour studying and then an hour with the hobby. Like, there was ways around for me to do both, but I was never taught that. That's why I feel like we find so much less to focus on within ourselves. Like, what are we interested in? What can we do in our free time? That then we almost become uninteresting to ourselves, and then we almost forget to love ourselves. Like I said, there's no formula to loving yourself. There's just so many small aspects that make you think, wow, this is me as a human and this is what I can do, and that's so amazing. But because we're so disassociated from that and we're taken so far away from that, we forget that these small aspects, it's like a jigsaw, all these small aspects are one big puzzle to help us be who we are and then find something amazing about ourselves, something we really want to do. And that's why I think so many of us end up like in corporate jobs or something that we aren't fully interested in as a career, because that's all we're taught. Like, this is the way you're gonna get a house, this is the way you're gonna build your future. Your hobbies have no interest in your educational aspects, in your future prospects. It's all very it's not very closely linked at all. And that's why I think we forget to find the interesting part about ourselves. For example, if you like reading, I love reading, and I always have to do like every few months because I can't find the time to read, because I'm so caught up in my educational aspect that my hobbies are stuck aside. I also learned to crochet 2 years ago, or I think a year ago now, and I also had to stop that. I haven't done that as often as I used to because my educational needs. I became so busy with uni that my evenings were just to rest for myself. And although I understand education is important, I'm 100% for it. As you can tell, I'm so far into my education, I wouldn't go against it, but I do think there's aspects that we can look at it at a different point, that we can help ourselves find amazing things about ourselves. And we don't do that enough as a society. I don't think we don't get to find those amazing things about ourselves that make us think, wow, I'm such an interesting human being. Instead, we think, wow, like, there's nothing that good about me. And I truly believe that's not because there is nothing interesting about us, it's because we've never been given the chance to sit down and think, what is interesting about me? What do I like? Because we don't all like the same things, just like we can't all be the same person. And that's why it's so important to find out when we see a person on our screen, and it's so important to realize that we can't be that person, because even they've had such different life experiences to us that they can't be, or we can't be them, because they're not like us. We don't have the same experiences, the same hobbies, the same standards in life, the same achievements, same goals. So we can't be like them. Their physique may look nice, but that's not us, and we can't be them. Now, one thing I've realized, and this comes back to the educational stress kind of things, right, is that as humans we put so much pressure on ourselves, so much burden, that we forget we are only here to exist. And I just think we all forget that, and there's so much beauty in just that concept, like we're just here to exist. whether we live in a certain way or live in a different way. All our only purpose every single day is to exist. And I just think that's such a beautiful mindset to have. It's such something that will really take your mind off things. And just knowing there's no specific purpose for you to be here except for existing. You came onto earth one day to exist. It's that simple. And we make it so hard for ourselves and we think, I have to do this, I have to do that. No, you really don't. Because you realize with time, everything gets solved. I'm not saying sit down and lie down and think everything's going to get done for you. But you don't have to put severe pressure on yourself. You're not a wall, a brick that has to uphold a structure. You just have to find a way to make your days go on. Find a way to be proud of yourself. Even if that was like a 10-minute walk. Or you drank a smoothie instead of having, I don't know, a really big noodle bowl and pizza. Even though life is for existing and enjoying yourself, we love accomplishments as humans, and I realize that a lot. We love accomplishments, and it's not restriction if you choose one thing over the other once in a while, but if it's every single day, then that is restriction. And then we kind of forget the point of existing, because if you were to give me an option of a noodle bowl or a salad, I'd probably really want to choose a noodle bowl. But on a good day where I feel like maybe I want to just do some self-assessment today, I'll choose a salad bowl, because on those days I feel like I would prefer the salad bowl. But if every single day I chose the noodle bowl, every single day, I chose the salad bowl, I'd probably be very, very unhappy, and also feel like my existence is very, very thin, in the terms that I'm not even here to enjoy myself. I'm here just to have a salad bowl every day, or not even eat the fruits I like. And at the end of the day, that's the concept of the sun. We're here to exist. We're literal tiny atoms on the earth. We're not that important. We're just here to float around and do our business. You see me on the screen, I see other people on the screen, but then again, we only see that glimpse. You've only seen me whilst I've been recording this. You don't know what I did before this or what I'm going to do after this, and that is amazing, because I'm not that important, and I'm just floating around like a little atom on the earth. And whoever does engage with whichever other atoms I engage with, we get to bind for a bit, but then after that we still go our separate ways. We're still atoms floating in the earth, and that's how we should perceive life in my aspect. We're just here to exist. We're not that important. We don't have to put that much pressure on ourselves, because we're only here to be standardized about pressure, and putting yourself with this much pressure will literally only make you crumble. And as we're atoms, we will crumble very, very finely, and that's not how we want to live our life. Just remember, and this equates to everything, we're only here to exist. You can spend your time here loving yourself as much as possible, or you can spend yourself critiquing yourself. At the end of the day, we're all here, all of us are here just to be. And this is coming from a religious aspect, and I understand everyone who's watching my videos may not be religious or may not think this way, but I think even if you want, one of the greatest concepts that's helped me, and that should help everyone else, like that you should get this tiny bit of understanding of, is that we can't do anything about our fate. And at the end of the day, no matter how much you try, everything is already planned for us. And whether this is from a religious aspect, a universal aspect, everything has already been decided for us. We can only try to get to that decision, but at the end of the day, whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. You can walk out tying your shoelaces, but if they come undone and you trip on them, you're just meant to trip on them. And I think that concept is really important to live in, just thinking that you're not in control of anything. You can try your best to be in control, but actually there's another force, another power that has full control, and you can try your best to be in control, but you're never actually going to be in control. And I think that is such a strong morale to live by. So just to summarize, there is no equation to loving yourself. No one has given you a flow chart, a mind map, and said, how do you love yourself? You find smaller qualities, and this is why it's so important. Take your time out. If you think you want to go on TikTok, take that out and read for a bit. If you think you want to go on Instagram, take that time out and, I don't know, go for a little jog. Not to exercise, but to free your mind. And physical activity is great for that. It's freeing your mind without thinking, I have to do this, I have to go on an hour jog. No. If you're stressed, go on a jog. But remember also, if you're stressed, reward yourself. And I saw a video about this yesterday, and I just think this concept is amazing because I've never thought about this. And you should reward your successes. And every day you think, oh, well, I haven't probably done anything that great today. But you getting out of bed, you making a start to the day, you, I don't know, washing your face, making yourself breakfast, putting on new clothes, that was a success. You did something successfully without even being asked to. Or even if you weren't feeling like it, you did it anyways. And you should reward your successes. Buy yourself a drink, treat yourself, take yourself for a walk. Just even spending time with yourself is such a big reward, especially for me. Just knowing I get to be alone for a bit and no one else has a say except for me. Those are my rewards for myself. Remember, reward yourself, but like whatever you aren't is enough. And that deserves to be rewarded. And when we reward ourselves, we just have more energy and more reasons to do more. And in that same aspect, for example, like I've been waking up really tired for some reason. So today my reward for myself in the evening time will be just before dinner. I'm gonna take a little nap, and that's just gonna keep me going for the rest of the day. Just knowing that after a few hours I get to take a rest. So yeah, instead of doing certain stereotype things, we can learn to do other things. Read a book, draw a picture, paint a bit. I know painting is very therapeutic. I've never done it, but I know it is. Write a song, write a poem, make jewelry, whatever you want. But I've realised the less time we spend on social media is the more time we give to ourselves, the more time we get to know who we are or be ourselves, and that is absolutely amazing to me. So I think that's something you should do, and that's, if you can put these practices into place, you realize you have a lot more to offer yourself than you think you do. So yeah, there is no formula to loving ourselves, but there is a formula to finding out who exactly we can be and which qualities we can find out about ourselves that we think are amazing and make us an amazing, impeccable human being. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It feels so odd to say this. This is probably my longest video. It's almost half an hour long, I think, or 30 minutes. I don't know how I'm going to say it, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed creating this, and I will be trying to create more content like this, about loving yourself or being more about who you are, finding yourself a lot more frequently. I think I will try my best. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it was helpful to you, please let me know down below. I hope this reaches someone who needs it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, please like and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye. I did have long hand, didn't I? I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
I've been wanting the same, you've been looking my way.